Sometimes we want to express a range of values so that we can do things a certain number of times. For example, let's say I want to play a song and repeat 10 times, or I want to swim 10 laps. In both those examples, the range of values when repeating that action is 1 to 10. We want to take that many turns and do a certain thing.
Let's add a new comment in here. We'll say ranges. In Swift, we can express a range with two kinds of operators. The first operator is called the close range operator, and the syntax looks like this, where A and B represent the starting and ending number, or the upper and lower bounds of the range. A closed range operator, one that has 3 periods, dots, or full stops, whatever you want to call them, creates a range of values that includes the values A and B. So if we were to write this, 1, then 3 dots, and then 5, that would create a range representing the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The second operator is called a half-open range operator. This operator uses the syntax as follows. So here we have A and B again, but in between we have 2 periods or dots, and then an opening angle bracket, and then the B. Now in this case, the range includes A, but not B. It goes up to B minus 1. So if we use this operator and wrote 1 period, an angle bracket, and then 5, we would get the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 in our range. Both these operators can be used in conjunction with a for-in loop to execute whatever code we want a certain number of times. So let's say I wanted to print out a multiplication table for 5, or the 5 times table as it's commonly called. We can write something like this. We start with the for-in loop, and this works just like before. So we'll say for. Now we're not working with the collection here, but we still want to take a number from our range and then assign it to a constant and use that. So we still have to give a name, and we'll call it number over here. We'll say in, just like before, and then we'll put our range in here. So we'll say 1, 3 dots, and then a 10. The syntax is the same as before, but instead of iterating through an array, we're iterating through the range. Now, what do I mean by iterating? That means going over each value in a collection or a range and doing something with it. So each number in the range is assigned to the constant number. Inside our loop, like before, we can add some code, and here we'll simply print out the multiplication table. In the Swift Basics course, we learned about string interpolation. We can use string interpolation here to pass the number variable directly into a string and print it. So here we'll say print, and inside we'll create a string. So we'll start off with an empty string. Now, of course, this won't print anything. Inside that string, we'll say some number times 5 is equal to, well, some other number. Now you'll see that times 5 is equal to is printed 10 times, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. So this string basically is being executed 10 times because here we've created a range of 1 through 10. Now we simply don't want to print this string 10 times, we want to print the 5 times table. So we'll use string interpolation. So we'll pass in this number, we'll say number. Remember, the syntax for string interpolation is a backward slash and a set of parentheses, and then inside we pass in whatever we want to evaluate. Now you can see that number, every time the loop moves forward, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10. Perfect. So now we can use number, and inside, again using string interpolation, we can perform a multiplication operation. We'll say number times 5. And now you'll see 1 times 5 is equal to 5, 2 times 5 is 10, and so on.
While it might be difficult to think of a concrete example where a for-in loop and a range would come in handy, they do crop up here and there, so it's useful to know what the syntax is and how it works. Now, as always, before we jump to the next video, let's take a code challenge.